tree that is. Oak, maybe? I swear there's never a dull moment with the weather in Hamilton. It was raining all night and all day. It was like +3 or 4 or something like that. Now it's getting into the evening. It's snowing, it was hailing before. Everything's gonna freeze over the night. Good times. March 8th, and it's finally starting to feel like spring. Slowly but surely. It's still below freezing, but it's sunny out. It's starting to warm up, so I took this board off finally and opened up the lower level of trees to the sunlight and air. You can see how much ice accumulated in there. Anyways, everything's looking pretty good, I think. I'll keep monitoring all the buds and see which ones start pushing out first. I've definitely got a bunch of things I need to repot. That little maple in the small black plastic pot is chock full of roots. I need to prune and repot that into a bigger pot. Well, anyways, repotting season is coming soon. In about a month, probably less, I'll be repotting a whole bunch of stuff. So I've got to finish all my yard pruning before then. Lots of time and a few days of nice weather coming up, so that's what I got on my list of things to do for now. That's curious. They're circling something over there. I live next to a large park area. Maybe something died over there. But they're hovering kind of right above the street, which is weird. These are turkey vultures, I'm pretty sure. Scavengers of dead things mostly. March 10th today, and it is finally starting to feel like spring. The birds have been singing all morning. The sun's starting to come out. It's only about 10:30. That's where the sun is in the sky now. It's gonna be traveling across. Not really any clouds in the sky. Trees are all looking good. Making sure there's no rabbits or anything that are coming by to eat the buds. I'm just keeping an eye on things, and once I start seeing things green up, I'll be sure to let you know right away. I've made a change of plans for these big fruit trees. I'm gonna air layer all the big branches off first, and then, just manage the fruit growth around the air layers and everything else. Get a whole bunch of fruit kind of down in this area, but pretty much everything above that is going to be air layered off. Same with the other apricot tree over there and the pear tree here. Also the pear tree out the side of the house. Also the persimmon tree and the quince tree over there. So, and even the plum trees on the side of the house. So yeah, pretty much all the fruit trees. The owners of the house and myself, we all want to air layer as many you know, good fruit growing copies of these trees as we can. So you know, I can move out in a year or two and bring them with me, and the owners, so they can plant them around their larger property they have up near the Ottawa area. So we don't see them very often, but we're making plans for all these trees. Anyways, I was working on the evergreen spindle a couple days ago, but I didn't do anything yesterday. Some other things got in the way, but there's the carnage so far. I'm probably about halfway done, I would say. I still got a lot of work to do. I'm going to be pretty much taking it all back to nothing. Back to the first couple buds on each branch. Trying to get some cool movement. Anyways, this is just the update video. I'm filming this in a separate video, so stay tuned for that one. So far, March is looking really nice. Hopefully the weather keeps warming up and the sun keeps shining. Can't wait for everything to start growing again. All right, that's it for now. March 11th. And we're back to cold and snowy again. It was a nice warm break for a couple days, but back to the norm for a little while. I ended up taking some of my trees out yesterday, let them have some sun. Gave, you know, the ones that were dry, gave them some water. But they were all pretty damp still because I had been chucking snow on them all winter. Everything is looking great. I won't say anything else any more than that before I see everything growing. The new buds bursting out. Should be a few weeks away. Repotting season anyways. I think early to mid-April is when I did it last year, so yeah, less than a month and I'll start repotting some things. There's definitely quite a few things that are in desperate need of repotting. So yeah, I'll go through all those later. I showed this one a long time ago. The pot is bursting open because all of those roots coming out of it. Oops. This pot broke in the winter freeze thaw, as was kind of expected, but yeah. The other small clay pots seem to do okay, so that's pretty good. Right on. I'll come back hopefully when the sun and warm weather is here to stay. I think next week sometime is when the really cold temperatures are due to be over, excuse me. Can't wait to prune this one up into a nice, you know, triangular, conical spruce shape. Snowing a bit harder now. You can actually see it on the camera. Nice gray, dreary day. But, you know, at least right now, the ground's still warm enough that the snow is just melting as soon as it hits the ground. It's just making all the trees look nice and fluffy. I love when they get fresh snow on them like this. There's little water droplets that are half frozen. I just think it looks so cool. I'm gonna take the leaves off of that Japanese maple and this oak. They stayed on all winter. Snow keeps getting bigger and fluffier as the day progresses. The onslaught continues. Still the same day, March 11th or whatever it is. Big fluffy snowflakes falling for the last couple hours, making everything look really cool. Very wintry again in the prehistoric bonsai zone. Sorry, Nigel. I think this is awesome though. I just love the way these trees look with snow covering them. This is probably the most beautiful they've ever looked. Maybe not quite, but I just love the effect. There's like, you know, dripping water off of these and then fresh snowflakes. Crazy fluffy cotton-like snowflakes. It's pretty wild. Catching on everything. That's a cool shot right there. Pretty beautiful, but hopefully this is the last major snowfall of the year. Really looking forward to spring. Buds bursting, green growth flying out of the trees. Soon enough, little friends. Soon enough, you'll be set free for the growing season. Can't wait. Crazy how green the moss stays even throughout the whole winter. It was like this. Very cool. Here's the result the next morning, March 12th. I was gonna put this back where it came from before the cold weather came back, but I forgot, and now it's frozen to the table. Everything's frozen. Just little ice chunks all over everything now. Probably shouldn't have taken everything out yet, but they just wanted to see the light. I think they'll be fine. A couple days of cold weather and then it really warms up, so it's just the last of it now, the home stretch.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you, if you look for the wooden fence along here, you'll see the sheep, and then past the sheep, you're going to see the horses hanging out with a big green squirrel. Oh, wow.
Did you get a sticker?
Would you like a sticker? You can have a butterfly. Which one would you like to have?
Excuse me.
There you go. You're welcome. If you need any more clues after, let me know. No, we can't have those apples. Those apples are for display.
Beautiful day today, March 20th, the first official day of spring. I brought some of the indoor plants outside to get a little bit of indirect sunlight in the afternoon. I did this yesterday too. Yesterday was about plus 14. Today, plus 11 or something like that. Pretty nice day. I was talking about these buds before. They got fluffy again. You can see how, yeah. I think when they have enough moisture, they kind of, suck in. And then if they're drying out, they kind of do that. That's what it looks like anyways. There's no bud movement on anything yet. All the ones that I pruned the other day are still on the table. No bud movement on any of the trees either. There's a bunch of tulips that are starting to come out of the ground here. And some different things. There's a lot of native plants that grow. All of these little things, they're growing all over the place. I think those are the weeds that grow in my bonsai, aren't they? I don't know. Anyways, lots of stuff coming up. It's a very, very cool, fun, exciting time of the year. You can see some big buds swelling on the hydrangeas. Some more tulips. Yeah. Give more updates as they happen. It's not quite repotting season yet, but I do want to perform one emergency repot here. This one was my only real casualty over the winter. That pot broke. Actually, that's not true. Another pot broke, that one, and one of the small orange ones, and I had to keep replacing what was in there into something else. Forget what that was though, what was in there. Anyways, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and repot this today. It's just a little winter creeper, very tough, hardy plant. There's a lot of root in it, and this part stayed green all winter. The rest of it turned this dark purple because it was hardened off. But I don't know, it almost looks like these leaves tried to open, like that was fresh growth. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and repot that. And then my next repot is gonna be that one. That's another, like a plastic broken pot with a lot of roots. That cedar needs to be pruned back real hard. So I'll repot that on a separate video. Just one more small update here. There's not too much growing yet in the yard, but we do have some flowers. These are the flowers of the crocus grass. Some more tulips coming up everywhere. That's the crocus. Those little, bulbs are coming up. Those will be the flowers. A few other things here and there coming up. Forget what the names of these purple ones are. Rosemary needs some pruning. A few other things need some pruning, but that's about it for now. March 26th today, and the first real sign of life on anything is my eastern redbud tree here. You can see the buds are starting to, you know, get nice and plump. They're, you know, this tree is super interesting. It forms these like clusters. Can't get that to focus. There it goes. These buds are gonna turn into the flowers. These tiny pink flowers. That's why they call it the red bud. And it's a super interesting tree. So yeah, I'm really gonna need to get the pruning done on that. There's a lot of pruning I need to do, get that back in shape and ready for another growing season. So I'm gonna have to do that soon. I also want to get this grapevine pruned back fairly soon. You know, the sap starts flowing on that pretty early. And, you know, actually, some of these buds are starting to get a little bit larger now. So, you know, I really should get that done soon. It's still going to be a little bit cold for the next week or so. But, yeah, should be a good time to do it. There's a little bit of rain coming this afternoon, and then once that's done, I think either today or tomorrow I'll get this pruning done. It's Saturday today, so I got the weekend. And then yeah, after today there's no rain for about 3 or 4 days, so it'll be nice and dry for them to recover a little bit. And then once the sap starts flowing, those wounds will heal up really quickly and everything will start growing like wild. That's the plan anyways. Actually, that bud might be getting a little bit larger. If I can focus on it. Right there. Maybe a tiny bit. Not really. Yep, that's about it for today. All the trees I pruned back last week are still over here, and there's no movement on any of them yet either, so I'm gonna keep waiting. March 27th, and the snow has come again. Overnight we got a couple centimeters. Yep, not too much snow left in the forecast, just a little bit here and there. A couple weeks of cool weather ahead before spring really gears up. Cannot wait. Well, if you thought winter was over and spring was here, you'd be wrong. Like I was. Another probably 3 centimeters of snow overnight. Kept the trees out on the table because it wasn't getting too cold and the snow was kind of acting like insulation, so I'm sure everything's all right. We'll see him again soon. Just when you thought it couldn't get weirder and grosser out, it did. We've had this freezing rain slash hail. Oh, I'm slipping on my metal stairs there. That's all ice. Walk around carefully today. Nice little frozen pellets everywhere. Hopefully all my trees are undamaged. Nothing was budding out yet, no fresh green growth, so nothing's gonna freeze off and die. But you know, hopefully the hail wasn't too heavy and it didn't come, you know, if it hit directly on a bud, I'm sure that would do some damage. This is wild. You could go curling on this ice. It's crazy. See, it's just made of these tiny little pellets. A couple millimeters thick at least. This all looks so bad right now, but I'm sure everything's fine. A couple more days of cold and then it'll start warming up a little bit. Hopefully that's the end of it for the year. Well, it's March 31st today. Got a nice warm day here. It's supposed to go up to plus 15. It's around, I think, plus 10 right now. Yeah, everything's looking pretty nice after all the freezing rain yesterday. Just wanted to note a couple things. So the buds on a Rose of Sharon tree are very weird, but I think they're starting to protrude now. You can see how much it's sticking out there. It wasn't really like that even just the other day. So they kind of, I'll show the process as it happens, but they kind of extend out as these like brown, almost dead looking twigs, and then eventually it'll, you know, sprout leaves off the end of that. So it's pretty weird, but that's happening. Also, the quince tree over here, the buds aren't really popping or anything yet, but there's a bit of red showing up on some of them. That one's starting to get a little fluffy, which is usually a good sign. Alright, well, I've decided, because I'm getting impatient and I want to start my repotting season a little bit early. I think a lot of these trees are going to start pushing out in the next couple weeks outside, but for now I want to pot up this little maple. Pretty sure it's a little Norway maple. This one I think I got from the ground at my old place. I don't think I got it here. But anyways, I pruned it on one of my recent videos. And yeah, so you can see all the root on the top there. It's just a small pot falling apart. You can see all the root that's developed in there. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, this pot's garbage now anyways, so I'm gonna bring that inside. I'll put it in the little indoor tent, indoor greenhouse thingy. And once it starts budding out, then I'll repot and do some major root pruning and put it in probably a slightly bigger pot with some fresh soil. And that'll be my first hardy repot of the year. Can't wait to do the rest. This one's just ready to go. Alright, time to bring it inside. Dang, well, it's a bit of a windy day today. I was just kind of plugging away around the yard. I was planning on digging this up and potting it once the buds started popping, but it looks like the root system was really weak. It was just growing in this kind of really loose, kind of dusty, silty soil that had accumulated in between those pieces of wood, so it's not a great root system. But I'm not exactly sure what kind of maple this is. There's a lot of Norway maples in the garden because of the big one in front of the house, but this one had bright red leaves last fall, which the Norway maple doesn't do, so I'm thinking it's something different. Maybe that's the red maple or a different one, not sure, but I'm gonna get that into a pot and try and grow it on anyways.